like mentally, physically. Eventually your body is just going to be like, I can't do another day of like walking or sightseeing or whatever. And you don't want that to happen.
This is Worldschooling Q&A. I'm Astrid, creator of The Wandering Daughter. As a traveling family, we've spent 4 years traveling full-time to over 18 countries and 6 continents. Wherever we go, we try to learn as much as we can about the countries and cultures we visit. While we didn't coin the term, we like to call this worldschooling, using the world as our classroom. Each week, my husband Clint and I will answer one question about worldschooling and share our experiences of traveling the world with our kids. Ready to get started? Great! Let's dive in.
So today's question is, how do I create a flexible travel schedule that allows for both education and downtime? Do you want to start?
Oh, sure. I think, first of all, I think it's important to recognize, at least for our family, and I'm sure other families are this way, making sure you do this. Create a flexible travel plan that does both the education, whether that's activities or something, but also creating downtime. If you're unfamiliar with kind of the concept of unschooling talks a lot about also finding that balance, like getting away from the structured education mindset. Mm-hmm. And so for us was really trying to identify how much kind of structured educational type of stuff we were doing mixed with the downtime. So I think one of the first things that we always do when we get in a new location is we usually do the research ourselves. Sometimes we involve the kids. It depends where we're at. But identifying, I think, what must-do activities we want to do. And then making sure that we get those must-do activities either on a list or on the calendar so that those are already on the calendar before we start anything else. And we actually have a physical calendar. We have a dry erase calendar that we've created that we hang everywhere we go. Yeah. And so we'll write those up on the dates for that. So I think just identifying those must-do activities. That way, those won't get missed. Yeah. And then we can kind of fill in from there. So what's another thing?
Yeah. Well, I want to expand on that a little bit because I think it is so important to be able to prioritize the activities. I think we have, as travelers, a lot of us have a bad case of like FOMO, fear of missing out. And so when we get someplace new, we're like, I want to do everything there is to do in this destination. That happens to me all the time. Clint can attest to that. But there's also another part, like doing that all the time can get exhausting and it can it's not sustainable, like mentally, physically. Eventually your body is just going to be like, I can't do another day of like walking or sightseeing or whatever. And you don't want that to happen. Like you don't want to do that for your worldschooling, especially if you're worldschooling long-term. So having like intentionally building in downtime, that's why it's so important. And that's why we as a family will like, not only are we going to sit down and, we're going to sit down and pick out like the things that are most important to us to do and say like, it's okay if I don't see, like we're in Paris. It's okay if I don't see the Eiffel Tower. It's not a priority to me. It's not a priority for Clint or the kids. We don't need to see it just because somebody else says that that's a must-do activity for you to do. So the must-dos are things that are personal for us. And then just as important is like picking out days where this is the day of the week that we're intentionally not doing anything.
Yeah, I think it helps. I think it helps set expectations for the kids. Our kids really need to know kind of what is coming up and what's the expectation because they make plans themselves. They plan on doing a specific activity, or maybe our daughter, for example, plans on like talking to one of her friends or something like that. So they need those. They kind of need that plan up front as well. I think the other thing I was going to say about like the FOMO bit is, once you reach a certain threshold, I mean, adults too, but I think adults, we tend to suppress it a little bit. But like kids, they reach a certain threshold, they're not going to remember anything else beyond that threshold. So if you've already gone to a ton of museums, it doesn't matter if it's the coolest museum in the world and they've been excited to see it. Like if they've reached that threshold, they're not going to receive it. So I think that's important. So what's one way that we do that other than like putting the must-dos on the activity? What's on the calendar? What's the main thing that we do, I think, once we've done that?
Well, I mean, I guess a thing that we do is kind of related to like putting things on the calendar, just not overscheduling ourselves, right? Like one activity a day or one thing per day. And sometimes that one thing is like, we're just going to eat at a restaurant. That's it.
Yeah. Oftentimes restaurants get kind of
lumped into just
as
like
an
the
extra
daily
thing,
things.
but
But or it's like we're gonna go to this park and play at the park, and that's the thing. Or we're gonna go to the beach, and then sometimes it is like when we were in England, like in London, for instance, going to a museum, and on the way there's a park that we can walk through. But the main activity was like the museum, or the main activity was like the theater or something.
Yeah.
What would you say? What would you add to that?
I mean, I would say that sometimes we do have fast travel even in between the slow travel days. So, and in the fast travel times, we do tend to put more things into the calendar to try to do some more things. I think the way we balance it at that point is we recognize that that's going to be the case for that week. And then we try to make up for it the week after and really kind of be chill. I mean, there was times in Mexico, for example, when we were staying a couple months in Mexico, where if we had 1 week that we knew is just packed, we were doing a lot of things for one reason or another. Maybe there's people visiting. Oh, for example, when we were in Indonesia, we had friends come visit us in Indonesia, and they were only there for a short period of time, like a week.
Yeah.
So we purposely packed a bunch of things into that week. But then after they left, we were really chill. Like we didn't do hardly anything.
Well, in fact, I think we went to my aunt's house and just stayed at her house for
for a few days. Yeah.
We're just on her.
Didn't leave or do anything. Yeah.
Swimming stuff. Yeah. So you have to really balance those things out and be mindful or be aware of like how your family is feeling. Like this is where communication is important. Like you should be able to express your own needs and also encourage your kids to express their needs too without feeling like they have, they're going to be judged for it or anything like that. Yeah.
I think, and that goes vice versa. It goes, if they're feeling tired, making sure that they're able to express that and that they need downtime. But also, I think both of us kind of take turns doing this. We both get restless. If we're in the house, if we're kind of chilling out for too long, we also kind of get restless and want to go do things. So then identifying, well, maybe only part of the family goes, or maybe just go solo. Like sometimes I'll go to a coffee shop because I just want to go explore the neighborhoods. I'll go walk down to a coffee shop or something like that. So I think identifying both chill out and feeling restlessness. But speaking of chill out, I think just making sure you schedule in chill out days. So I was talking about with fast travel, if we're going to be busy for a week, we will purposely put it on the calendar. I mean, literally we'll like write a line item of like chill out days. Yeah. Or if we know we're going to museum this day, the next day we'll just say, we'll block it off as like a chill out day.
Yeah.
And that's really helpful. And our family actually really looks forward to it. Our kids ask when the chill out days are. So it's good downtime.
We try and schedule it at least like once a week. How do you go about like choosing the types of activities that we do or the things that we do at a destination?
I think we try to have variety. I feel like when we look at activities, so say for example, we get to a new destination, we kind of brainstorm together. We'll research like what's available to do, what are all the different things. And we break it up in all sorts of categories. There are like museum trips, for example, because we don't want to do too many of one thing together. So like we don't want to go to the museum like 10 days in a row or
even though I would get bored with that. And I love museums. So.
Exactly. It's just, it's overstimulation.
Yeah.
We also don't want to go do a physical activity multiple times in a week because we know we're going to be exhausted.
Right.
On the same on the same note, like we don't want to do too expensive of an activity multiple days in a row because then that starts to eat away at our budget. So I think the big thing we do is kind of make that list of activities and then start to
Mhm.
categorize it of like how expensive is it going to be, and then also is this a physical activity or highly like museum, like where it's intellectually stimulating,
Yeah.
and then try to just break those up throughout the month. Sometimes you can't,
Yeah.
but that's what we try to do. How about you?
Yeah, I agree. I think the other thing is I like using Google Maps or just like a map app on my phone because sometimes like when I research things, I'll look it up on blog posts and things, but sometimes just seeing what's around within like the immediate vicinity, walking distance, you find like some like unique local things that you probably wouldn't find in some like guidebook or something like that.
Mexico City is a great example, right? Because Mexico City has like the most museums per capita or something.
Yeah,
So you literally
exactly.
just open the map and there's like museums all around you.
Well, New York City is the same
Yeah.
way where, when we were staying in Brooklyn for a month, there was all these like little parks around, not just Prospect Park, but like little parks, little like we liked going to like cafes and stuff
Mhm.
too,
Yeah.
or we were staying near the Children's Museum, which was actually pretty cool. And so, yeah, like just that's kind of part of pretending like you're living there is like utilizing, local stuff.
I think it's cool too because I think of when we were in Tokyo as well, and we we had all our outings that we'd go out and do,
Yeah.
but then we'd pass by this one restaurant every single time, and finally we were like, well, let's. And there was literally around the corner from where we were staying,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then we decided to eat there one time, and it was great. It was like a type of meal we had not eaten before, and so we ate there. It strangely disappeared after that, but that's another story. But the other thing was like there was a sento, a bath that was near our place too, and so that's another category. Kind of is like an adult only thing for date nights, and so
Yeah.
luckily our kids are a little bit older, or if we're staying with friends, we can do that. But that's another way we do that.
Let's talk a little bit about like slowing down your travels because you had mentioned fast travels and having like activities. What might be some benefits of like having a slower pace in travel, staying in a destination in for a longer period of time than just like a week?
Yeah. I think one of the coolest things that we discovered, I guess we kind of already knew this because this happens even in the United States, is a lot of museums will do like multi-day passes. Obviously you can buy like annual passes or things like that. But even beyond that, we were in England, for example, in the Birmingham area, and there's the Black Country Museum, which is an outdoor kind of living museum,
Hmm.
like a little town. And you go, and then when you buy your ticket, and I don't know if this was just a promo for the time, but like
Yeah.
when we bought our ticket, there was you can come for a second day for like half off or free or something.
Yeah, I think it was
I think it was
free.
free.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically get a second day at the museum
And you can
free.
use it, it expires within a year.
Yeah. And so because we were there
3 weeks.
for 3 weeks, we were like, we have time. So we didn't go immediately that week. I think we went a week after.
Yeah.
So we were still able to do the other things that we wanted to do, but then we were able to go back. So then we also didn't feel pressed to be there all day. And this can
Yeah.
play like we've done this with Disneyland, for example. Granted, Disneyland multi-day passes are extremely expensive, but it's the same mentality, right? Like then you don't have to just physically exhaust yourself to do something all day long.
Yeah.
And break that up. What's another example of that where multi-days?
Well, I think about like when we stayed in Parma,
Mhm.
in the Parma region in Italy, they have all these really cool like little food museums scattered throughout like the towns around the region. And they're like small, one room size museums. So it's not very big.
Mhm.
But like each museum is like specific to a type of food. Ham, Parmesan cheese, tomatoes, pasta, like the cuisine of Italy. And
Sausage.
yeah, sausage, wine. So we went to the tomato museum first because I was like, oh, there's a tomato museum. How random is that? I saw that on the map and I was like, let's go to the tomato museum. And when we got there and we were buying the tickets, they're like, well, you can get a a museum pass or like a pass for all 7 museums.
Yeah.
I think there was 7 or something like that. And you just have to use it within a year. And we're like, well, we're here for a month. Let's go with that instead of, just buying the one ticket for each museum. And that kind of gave us an opportunity to sort of like, not only did it allow us to do like road trips around the region, which we loved, but it also gave us like small bits of like small bursts of educational moments because each museum was just packed with information about that one specific type of food. And then we'd go home and then we'd try and eat the food that we just like learned about. And yeah, it was nice. That was a fun way. So like wherever you go, like try and see, especially if you're slow traveling, like try and see if there like places offer multi-day passes that can be, spread out throughout your time there. And that gives the kids like a chance to go back to feel like there's like a little bit of routine too, or like things that are a little familiar.
And I think that speaks to the especially the Parma one speaks really to the slow travel aspect. One, I don't think we would have found that tomato museum if we just hadn't been there for longer and trying to find things within the region to do.
Yeah.
And then secondly, I don't think, even if we had found the tomato museum online somewhere, I don't think we would have realized or seen that we could have done a multi-day pass.
Yeah.
So just the fact that we were there kind of longer and slower, we were able to take advantage of some of the things that you would take advantage of if you were living in that region.
Yeah.
Or at least we would if we were living in that region. Cool.
One of the things I like to have on my site are itineraries of the places that we visited. So, if you are if you happen to be in a place that I've written about, you can check out like some of the itineraries. I do put the museums I have a Parma itinerary. I think I have like some like Costa Rica and Indonesia, Jakarta ones. So yeah, feel free to peruse my website for any of those itineraries and don't feel pressured to like do everything there. We spent like a long time in those destinations. That's why we were able to do all those activities.
Cool.
So
anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Okay.
Well, that's all for today. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Worldschooling Q&A with Astrid and Clint. Be sure to check out the show notes for any links we mentioned in the episode and visit my website, thewanderingdaughter.com, to dive deeper into worldschooling and family travel.
If you like what you hear, please consider supporting The Wandering Daughter on Patreon. It really helps us out and keeps the show going. You'll also get exclusive perks like episode transcripts, additional resources, access to office hours with us, and more. You can find us on Spotify or the podcast app of your choice. If you're listening to this on Spotify, you can tap the bell icon to get notified when new episodes come out. And if you like this episode, please give us a 5-star review. It really helps new people find our show.
If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe and tap the bell icon to get notified of new episodes. You can follow me on Instagram @WanderDaughter or follow The Wandering Daughter on Facebook. Links to these are also in the show notes. If you have any worldschooling questions you'd like us to answer for future episodes, feel free to throw them in the comments or send us a message at thewanderingdaughter.com/podcast. Until next time, happy travels!
Bye!